Hi everyone, my name's Helen and I work as a librarian in the reading rooms of the State Library. I'd like to begin today with the following acknowledgement to First Nation peoples. We acknowledge the traditional owners of country and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Today, this session is on avoiding plagiarism and knowing how to cite your sources. At the end of this session, you will be able to identify different types of plagiarism, apply citation styles to your work, use the web application Cite This For Me, and find citations for works in the State Library Catalogue and e-resources. So what is plagiarism? The Oxford English Dictionary Online defines it as thus: the act of taking someone else's work and passing it off as your own. It is viewed as intellectual theft and very poor scholarship. Now, it doesn't matter what form it takes. If something is technically taken from another and used as one's own without any acknowledgement or attribution, it is deception. The University of Oxford cites the following forms of plagiarism. I'll just go into their website. All right, the first one is word-for-word quotation or verbatim quotation without clear acknowledgement. So you have to identify the quotation as coming from a particular source, where you've drawn it from that particular source. Now the next one is paraphrasing. So when you find a particular idea or particular something in a text, and you want to paraphrase it, you still have to say where that comes from. So you can't pass it off as your own. So it's changing someone's words to make something appear as your own without clear acknowledgement. All right, cutting and pasting from online sources. Very easy, very tempting to do, but again, intellectual theft and deception. So you must always adequately reference it and include it in your bibliography. Next one is collusion. So when you collude with another or a group, it is the act of unauthorized cooperation between yourself and others to create a work which appears to be your own. So basically others have had a hand in your work and you haven't acknowledged them. So it looks like it's completely your work, but it is the work of you and another, or you and a number of others. The next one is inaccurate citation. So if when you find something you don't write down the source properly, and you think, oh, well, I'll just put it in as page such and such. And then someone later wants to find that reference and it's an inaccurate citation. It makes it very difficult for other people. And again, it is an act of deception and really it is laziness. So you need to cite, you need to record things as you go so that you don't inaccurately cite. And this session today is to teach you how to cite properly so that doesn't happen to you. And the last one is failure to acknowledge assistance, any assistance you might have had, say from a coaching college or a specific, not really from a teacher, but any sort of extra coaching that you may have had and you haven't acknowledged it. That again is an act of deception or intellectual theft. So make sure that you don't get involved in any of the above acts of plagiarism. At the end of the day, it's about acknowledging whatever you use in your work. Now, common facts don't need to be cited. Uncommon facts do. So if you have statistics which may not be common, then you will need to cite them, but general common facts don't need to be cited. And again, if you don't know where something comes from or there's difficulty in finding the reference, ignorance is definitely not bliss. If you fail to acknowledge your sources, it will be your downfall. Let's go back to the State Library page. Now, acknowledging your sources, what does that mean? So a citation is a formal reference to a published or unpublished source that you have consulted and obtained information from whilst writing your assignment. That is from the University of Southern California on the web. So if you find a great quote or a paragraph that you want to paraphrase in your assignment, make sure that you acknowledge the source, you cite the source. By doing this, you're acknowledging where the quote or the paragraph came from, i.e. crediting the author, and at the same time, giving yourself more credibility by showing that you have read works relating to the assignment. Now, credibility, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, means the quality or state of being credible, the capacity to be believed or believed in. So credibility in the academic world stands for a lot. Now, how do we cite? Let's go to the research guides for various HSC subjects. So now we're currently on the home page. I'm going to show you the pathway to the HSC guides, and then we'll go into citation guides. So let's go into menu, and under research and collections we have research guides, and then we've got HSC here. Click there. We've got, these are the guides that we currently have, and we're creating more. So we're going to the English HSC guides. Now the guides generally follow the same format, and apart from the legal studies guide, they all have this at the bottom, the citation guide. So we'll click on that. Now, before we start, there are many styles of citation. However, the ones that you will probably be using, or using one of the following, are APA, which means American Psychological Association, Chicago Manual of Style, Harvard Style, or MLA, which means Modern Language Association. So really it depends on your school, on your teacher, but when you're doing an assignment, you stick to one style, you don't vary the style. Okay, you may be that when you're studying history for HSC, you might use a different style to when you're doing English. But as long as you know the style that you're using for the particular assignment or particular subject, then stick with that style only. So let's go into citation guides. Now you'll see at the top, we've got acknowledging sources, HSC, all my own work. So I would presume by now that you've actually done that course. So I did it myself too. It's very good actually. So let's go into how to reference. So we've got here how to reference University of Sydney website. Then we've got Harvard Referencing Guide, and then referencing basics, APA style. Let's go into this one here. This is very simple to use. Now on the left-hand side, you'll see that we've got the various styles, all right? So as I said before, the main ones that you will be using are APA, Chicago, which is down here, Harvard, which is here, or MLA, which is here. All right, now let's go into APA. So we'll click here. And you're going to use this for your bibliography. So the references that you have at the end of the essay and the citations that you use within the body of your essay or your assignment or your report, whatever it is that you're doing for your HSC. All right, now if we go down here, so let's have a look. So it tells you how to reference according to whether it's an idea, a quotation, a source within a source, etc. So that is telling you how to reference within a particular assignment. So if we look at referencing a quotation, we can see that we have the quotation in inverted commas there, and then within the parenthesis, we've got the citation there, which is Lumbee 2001, page 44 in brackets. All right, so then you can follow that. If that's the way, if you're using APA, you can do that if you're using a direct quote within your essay and you're using APA as your style. So when you're doing this, this is called an in-text citation, all right, because it's in the text of your work. All right, now let's go into Chicago. Now in Chicago, it's called a footnote. So you can see that we have here, let's have a look here. Here we have, so there we have a quote. Here we have this particular one, and then we have a number at the end of it. Now that number relates to a reference at the bottom of the page. So we have this reference here comes from this particular book. All right, that's the way that it's referenced according to Chicago. So that's quite a different style of citation, but again, it depends what your school or what your teacher wants to use. So sometimes you might, with Chicago, you might get the numbers may not relate to something at the end of the page. It may relate to references at the end of a chapter. So you might need to go to the end of a chapter, which I'm sure you've experienced at some time. You go to the end of the chapter and you'll see a whole load of numbers which relate to references within the particular chapter. So that's how it works. That's called an end note, but where you've got a note at the bottom of the page, it's called a footnote. And end notes at the end of the chapter also arranged numerically. Right, let's have a look at Harvard. So we'll go back here, Harvard. And we'll go to a quotation. So we have the same quotation that we had for APA. And again, if you look at it, the citation is after the quote and it's in brackets and it is there exactly the same as APA. Not that that style is the same as APA, but where you're referencing a quotation, it is the same. Okay, let's go into MLA. So here we have referencing a quotation. So we have the quotes in commas, in inverted commas there, and then in brackets we've got the author and the page number there. And obviously that is also going to be referenced at the end of the essay or the book, and that would be in the reference list or the bibliography. The reference list and bibliography is exactly the same. All right. Now, as I said before, as you study, keep a record of everything that you're using, including page references. This saves you the painful task of trying to find a reference that you didn't record at the time. And cite it at the time in the style that you've been asked to use. And then you don't have to go back and fix it up later, right? It makes your life so much easier. Let's go back to the citation guide. So I'll just get out of this. And here we have interactive Harvard referencing guide from UTS, University of Technology, Sydney. All right, so if we click on this, we'll just have a quick look at this and you can go into it. It's very easy to use. So you can choose the type of material that you want to cite. So if you're citing a book, you can go there. Let's go into other sources and have a look. So let's go into, sorry, just 1 minute. I meant to go into websites or online. All right, so we've got podcasts there. Let's click on that. Now you can see in-text referencing. That's the way that you do it according to Harvard. And then the reference list model is the reference list at the end of the assignment is there. Okay, so that's telling you how to do that. And then if you want to click on a book, you'll see you've got various types, one author, you can click there and you can see in-text referencing or again, reference list model. So you do need to read these carefully and hopefully after a little while it will become maybe not second nature, but you do need to get it firmly in your head how to cite correctly. Because as I said before, ignorance is absolutely no excuse. Now let's go back. We won't look at this now, but you can do that in your own time. Let's go into citing tools and go into cite this for me. Now say you find something and you don't have, it's something that you need to know how to cite and you're not sure. So you can actually use this, cite this for me. Now, I looked at this article in the conversation. I'll just click into it. And sorry, I just need to go back just 1 minute. I'll just put in here. Okay, so this one here, data privacy. Strict European rules will have repercussions in Australia as global divisions grow. So this whole article is on data privacy. So if you have a look here, there is no direct citation. So if we want to cite this, say you're using it for a particular assignment on maybe censorship and privacy, could be part of society and culture. So we've got the author, we've got the title, we know it's from a website. So you can go back here and you can go into, you can choose your style, the citation style, and then it will ask you to fill in the details manually. Well, I did that and there I've got this reference here. So that's the reference that I have, and that is kept for an enormous amount of time. So if we wanted to, you can click on here. It will tell you if you wanted to do, so I did APA 7th edition, and then you can add new reference, and then you can choose whatever. So I did a website, and then you can fill in manually cite. And then you fill in the details, and that's what I did, and I got that particular reference. So you can do that if you want to get the correct citation and you don't have ready access to the way that it should be cited. So you can do that. It's a very useful tool. Let's go back. Okay. Let's have a look now at the State Library Catalogue and e-resources. So we're in the English HSC guide. So we can, instead of going back to the home page to search the catalogue, we can go into finding books and other e-resources in the library. And that will also take us into the library catalogue. So there's always more than one way to do something. So let's wait to go into that. Now, if we say we want to search, we want to get a citation for a particular book that we have been using. So we just put in, we found this book, we're using it or we've used it. So this is called gender discrimination. This is the topic, but we'll find a particular book. Just pretend that we have actually used it. So we have here an electronic resource. Maybe we've used that, or maybe we've used the actual book. So let's click here. All right, now you can see we've got a variety of icons here. Now, if you go into the citation icon, it gives you the citation straight away. And you can choose MLA, APA, Chicago, change it, and it changes straight away. All right. We've also got things here like EndNote, RefWorks, where you can keep the references, or you can actually send that to your own email. You can cut and paste it, send it to your own email so that you have it as a reference. And make sure that you do this as you go. All right, let's go back. And then again, if you want to get the published item, go in and you just click the citation. All right, and you click it according to the style that you're using. That goes for any item that, that you may be using from the State Reference Library. If you're using something from maybe a university, look at their catalogue and get the citation details. Often public libraries don't have citations of references, so citation icons, so you may need to go onto our website and see if we also hold it to get a citation, even though you borrowed it from another library. Or you could go onto a website called Trove, which you can find via Google, and you can get a citation from there as well. All right, let's go back to the guide. So here we are. We're going to go into e-resources. So an e-resource is an electronic resource which you can use from home. So we have dealt with that in our smart searching skills. So let's go into here to Cambridge Companions. So Cambridge Companions is an e-resource of full textbooks by Cambridge University Press, and there are currently over 700 books in this particular resource. Now, let's search here. We just put in something simple, very, very useful for HSC to search for genres or authors, or in some cases, titles. Let's go down here and say we have read this particular book, the whole, let's go here, this one here. We've read this book online. So now we want to get the citation. So it's citing it there in Harvard format. So you want to change it. So you can just put in APA and it will pick it up, APA there. And there you get the citation. All right. And again, if you wanted to send it, if you set these up in your own accounts, you can do that as well. Now, let's go back. If we, I'll just put in her name again. So we searched the whole book there now. Now, if we only used a chapter, so say this particular one, say we're using this particular chapter, all right, Jane Austen and Literary Traditions. So this is a chapter within the book. So let's click on the chapter. So we don't want to cite the book, we want to cite the chapter. So there we are, there's the citation. And again, it comes up and you can change it according to the style that you're using. Okay, let's get back. Now, if we were still in the HSC guide here, now if we go into this one, prose fiction, non-fiction, drama, and we look at a different e-resource, Literary Reference Center Plus. So basically I'm going in today to show you how to find citation icons within these resources because they're readily available to you. you don't need to struggle to find the citations if you use from these resources. All right, so let's put in Forster Passage to India. And then we'll make it scholarly or peer-reviewed. So peer-reviewed is when an article or a book is reviewed by academics in the field. And there we have 65 items. If we look at this one here, so you can't immediately see the citation, all right? But if we click, and then we have on the right-hand side, so you just need to really look around to find the cite button. There it is. And it tells you, you just find whether what style you want, APA, Chicago, Harvard, etc. Okay, MLA. All right, let's go back. So now we're still in the English guide, but we might go back to HSC to modern history. So I just want to show you that they are all the same there. So we've got a citation guide there again, and the same format. All right, now if we say we want to look at journal articles here, and we want to look at JSTOR, which is a very academic resource. You really need to just get used to using these, all right? So if we put in here, Palestine, historiography, so the writing of history of Palestine. So let's submit that. We're bound to get a fair amount of results. So we might just limit from 2000 to 2020 and apply. Okay. So this one here, Palestinian historiography in relation to the territory of Palestine, that looks quite good. So you've got the reference there, but we want to know how to cite it. So you can click there. All right, and it's so easy. There are your references. So very, very simple. Okay, so in most cases, you will be able to get a citation of what you're looking at. If you cannot get a citation, again, go into the citation guides that we have to show you how to actually cite, or go into Cite This For Me. So I'll just go back here. So remember here, citation guides. So the pathway is State Library. I'll show you again. So State Library, menu, research guides, HSC, and then whichever one that you're looking at, it doesn't matter. And then citation guides there, okay? So you have them at your fingertips to use. So let's recap the session today. So today, we've identified the different forms of plagiarism. We've learned how to cite using the various research guides. We've located citation icons in the catalogue and e-resources. So they should be very, very helpful to you. So in the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, remember, genius borrows nobly. So borrow nobly or honorably, and your work will have credibility. Do amazingly in your HSC, and bye for now.